Hey guys, Argent here with at last my series on Christianity. Now I'm sorry it's taken so long. If anyone who's actually studied any of this probably knows, there's a lot of stuff to cover. Unlike the series on the existence of God, which is just kind of philosophical arguments, so you just kind of have to understand the logical flow of the argument. You just kind of have to figure that out. Unlike that, or once you kind of get the overall idea, it's not too difficult. This requires a lot of research, a lot of citations, a lot of kind of reading. So this just takes a lot longer, and you'll see that why as we go through. So, standard disclaimer. I am not a professional theologian. As I said before, my degree is in political science. I do have a minor in philosophy, if that's any use. These videos are not intended to answer all questions, provide all detail. Like when we get into the Gnostic Gospels, I only do a couple quotes from a couple of them, largely because this is not supposed to be a book. There are people who have done like systematic studies of all of this. I'm not a professional theologian. I don't have a PhD. This is meant to be more popular level. This is meant to be more accessible and more kind of just kind of a primer. These are supposed to be, I don't know, 10 to 30 minutes on a particular topic, kind of giving you a bit of an introduction, maybe providing a bit of a place to go look for stuff. Just kind of giving you a taste of kind of early church history, etc. So I'm not knowledgeable on everything. I'm not a professional theologian. But I think to some extent there's value in that because this is kind of someone from the outside looking in, and I think I'd like to think I'm pretty good at simplifying things. So yeah, minute detail, etc., is beyond my purview. I don't really have the time for it. I don't mean that flippantly. I mean I don't have the time to write like a big theology book. Maybe I will someday, but if I'm not really getting paid for it, it's just kind of reality. I'd like to be able to, but if nothing else, I wish to make you take seriously the claims made by Christianity and acknowledge that there's some basis with them. There's just a lot of junk out there. There's a lot of myths and rumors. I won't always be like directly addressing them. I don't really want to do this defensively and just find a list of objections people have and just go through them. So these are going to kind of be history lessons and theological lessons, and hopefully they will kind of answer your questions. I can always do additional videos if you have something specific to ask me about. This is going to be much longer than the previous series, I imagine. So another disclaimer, I am Catholic, and my understanding of Christianity is Catholic. I don't hold the Sola Scriptura. I don't hold the Sola Fidelis or whatever it is. I do consider the Church Fathers as authoritative. My understanding of Christianity is deeply rooted in tradition with an uppercase T. In Catholicism, we have uppercase and lowercase t tradition. Uppercase traditions come from the deposit of faith. These are things that the church has always taught. And by always, I mean like from the 1st and 2nd century. Tradition doesn't mean something from like 100 years ago. Tradition with an uppercase T means it's been around forever. It means it's come from something that the church has declared infallible. Infallible more or less just means that it cannot be changed, that it's part of Orthodox canon. Like the ecumenical councils are infallible. The popes, I think, have only made like 2 or 3 declarations that are infallible. People make a lot of fuss about papal infallibility. It's only been used like a half dozen times in like 2,000 years. There are lowercase t traditions, which is like clerical celibacy. That is something that is important and has been around a very long time, but it is something that theoretically could change. That being said, a lot of this is also relevant for Protestants, and especially the Orthodox. I mean, they are fully Christians. They are baptized in the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. The Orthodox also have valid apostolic succession and accept most of the ecumenical councils. So if you're Protestant, this should be just as helpful. Maybe I'll have a bit of a Catholic spin on some things, but most of what I say here you can use when you're questioned by atheists or neo-pagans or something. So let's go on. So yeah, the difficulty was trying to figure out kind of a format for this. I mean, where do you start? Do you start with the Old Testament? Do you start with Jesus? Do you start with the Bible? Do you start with kind of some general concerns? The church fathers? I don't know. It was kind of difficult, and that's partially why it took so long to come up with. It's not like there's a list. Like if you go to arguments for the existence of God, there's a list. There's like 10 or so. You go through them, you do a video on each, you figure out how to connect them together. It's not that hard. If you have any kind of real understanding of philosophy and you've studied it at all. This was a lot more difficult. So we have a couple assumptions just for the sake of this video. I'm assuming you have either watched my arguments for the existence of God, as is part one in the series. I'm not assuming you're going to watch it. I'm just that or somewhat familiar with the philosophical arguments for God's existence. So this is not meant to prove God. This is not meant to prove the supernatural. That's beyond the purview of this series. That a man can rise from the dead, that God can exist. That's a completely different topic. If you just a priori, that is, you just believe that the supernatural is impossible, this series won't really mean that much to you. I suppose I can still establish kind of Christianity's historic thing, and I can debunk a lot of the rumors. But if you're not prepared to take anything about any religion seriously, then this probably won't be that much help. I can at least establish for you that Christianity is historical. That's not something someone just made up, like 400 years after Christ's death. So this is kind of more intended for people who are maybe agnostic, maybe people who are deists, who believe that God exists, people who believe in some spirit, some life force, maybe people who are hermeneutic or traditional school or something like that, trying to prove that Christianity is the one true expression of religion and of God. So yes, so if nothing else, I hope you find it enjoyable. I hope you learn a lot. I hope you at least gain some respect for my faith. If nothing else, I kind of hope, and part of the reason I do these is so people go, well, that guy sounds smart. Not to toot my own horn, but this guy has clearly done some reading. There's clearly some scholarship behind this. This isn't just kind of a bunch of ignorant hicks. So this will be a series of however many videos it will take to cover the topic I have in mind, and I may add more at a later date. I've already had someone say, I'd like you to do a video on Galileo and the Church and Science. Which isn't exactly an argument for Christianity, but it's kind of supportive evidence, so maybe I'll do that at the moment. The initial run is probably going to start with the creeds, what Christianity is. We're going to move on to Jesus, the Bible, the Church Fathers. I will warn you, though, that due to the myriad of the topics, the flow may not be completely obvious. I've tried to keep a logical flow, but it's going to be hard. Just because there's a lot of stuff to cover, there's a lot of time. So this will be a cover of, I may have to make some videos if I miss like a major topic that's kind of out of position. So this will be a combination of a number of things: historical evidence, church history, theology, explaining doctrines, dispelling common myths. While, as I have stated, I certainly can't cover everything and respond to every criticism, I intend to, as accurately as possible, attempt to correct misconception of Christianity and kind of educate you on church history. Okay. Once just another disclaimer, as always, I was striving completeness and to cover all the major points. It doesn't mean everything that I say is convincing to me personally or that I consider it ironclad. People have different standards, and sometimes something that might appeal to me or might appeal to someone else doesn't appeal to another person. We all kind of have different standards of proof. Obviously, they're similar enough that I can make a video for this. I'm not appealing to relativism, but people are different, and they kind of have different standards. So obviously many theological issues are not always directly provable, but I will try to show their coherency, their logic, and their importance. What is Christianity in the next video? I hope you enjoy the series. This is Argent Templar. Talk to you later.